December 12, 2005 hard. As she tried, Melanie Alix failed to persuade a jury she was the victim. On their sixth day of deliberations, the 7 women and 5 men, who listened for almost 2 weeks as the 31-year-old South Shore resident recounted her troubled life in painstaking detail, instead decided yesterday that Alix is a cold-blooded killer who targeted vulnerable members of her own family. Alix barely flinched as the jury found her guilty as charged of arson and first-degree murder in the death of her wheelchair-bound mother, Francine Levesque, in a 2001 house fire. They also declared her guilty of arson and first-degree murder in the death of her 1-year-old son, Matisse Alix-Leblanc, in a separate fire 2 years later, as well as a charge of attempted murder against another person who cannot be named. The case hinged on evidence showing that both Levesque and Matisse perished of smoke inhalation long before firefighters and paramedics arrived, prosecutor Julie Beauchesney said after the verdict. It wasn't just the cause of death, it was the time of death that was important in this case, Beauchesney said. There were also eerie and inexplicable similarities between the 2 cases that went far beyond coincidence, she said. Both Levesque and Matisse were found to have been drugged with the sleep-inducing antidepressant oxazepam, for which Alix had a prescription. Both fires were deliberately set, investigators determined, but they pointed out the flames had originated in multiple unconnected sites at different times. For instance, one fire flared and died at Levesque's Lacadie home on January 31, 2001, allowing the air to cool enough for soot to settle on her prostrate body before a major inferno attracted calls to 911. At Alix's white-clapboard home in St. Blaise, fire scene analysts said there were 6 separate sites of origin for the May 12, 2003 blaze. Firefighters discovered 2 charred chairs had been set alight in the living room, but were already cold by the time they responded to a larger fire started on the stovetop. During her trial in Longueuil, which lasted more than 2 months, Alix's defense team ultimately described her mother's death as a fatal accident, but it also went to great lengths to cast suspicion on others for the 2 deaths. Alix openly blames her brother for her mother's murder and her ex-boyfriend, Stéphane Leblanc, for her son. Ms. Beauchesney said the jurors saw through Alix's blame game. I find it unfair that the finger was pointed at Stéphane Leblanc, the father of this child, who was not there that day, and at François Alix, who lost his mother in the fire, Beauchesney said. The jury's verdict also undoubtedly turned on Alix's credibility. Throughout her testimony, Alix portrayed herself as a perpetual victim of childhood sexual abuse at the hands of her grandfather, of adolescent sexual abuse by her brother, of rape and continual physical abuse by her ex, of car accidents, and of police torture. Under cross-examination, Alix displayed not a hint of emotion in recounting her Sophie's Choice moment. She described fighting thick smoke to reach Matisse's crib, but leaving the room without him because she'd written him off as already dead. During her long days on the witness stand, Alix had an explanation for everything, but contradicted herself many times when confronted with her videotaped confession to police during an interrogation the day after Matisse's funeral. Alix admitted to investigators in 2003 that she had drugged her children before setting a fire on the stovetop fed by oil from the fryer. But in court, she said the detective put words in her mouth and that she gave her children oxazepam only to calm them because they were concerned for her safety after their father threatened her with death. Alix wrote a will the night before her son died. On the witness stand, she said it was to make sure her children got her money if her ex killed her. But the prosecutor pointed out to Alix the only mention of her children was that she wanted to be buried with them in the family plot. After the jury was sequestered, Alix phoned the Journal de Montreal and declared herself the victim of an unfair trial, a prosecutor who was too congenial with the media, and a judge she characterized as mean. She also told the newspaper she would appeal any guilty verdict. Bring a complaint against Quebec Superior Court Justice France Charbonneau and ask for an inquiry into the Surrey du Quebec's handling of her case. The jury also didn't hear that Alix set her clothes on fire while at Tangay prison in a failed attempt at self-immolation, and that she once was suspected of setting fire to Leblanc's Jeep. Alix will automatically be sentenced to life in prison, with no chance of parole for 25 years for the two murders. But an arcane law prevents judges from handing down sentences on Sundays. So Alix will be back in court today, when her sentence for the two arson counts and the attempted murder charge will also be discussed.